एष देवो विश्वकर्मा महात्मा सदा जनानां हृदये सन्निविष्टः स्वराज्य साम्राज्य विभूतिरेषा भवत्कृपा श्रीमहिमप्रसादात् प्राप्ता मया श्रीगुरवे महात्मने नमो नमस्तेस्तु पुनर्नमोस्तु नमो नमस्तेस्तु पुनर्नमोस्तु नमो नमस्तेस्तु पुनर्नमोस्तु नमस्तस्मै सदैकस्मै कस्मै चिन्महसे नमः यदेतद्विश्वरूपेण राजते गुरुराजते यदेतद्विश्वरूपेण राजते गुरुराजते. See the beauty of Sanskrit. Rajate. Rajate means viraj karte hain. It rains. Rajate, Guru Rajate. Guru Rajate. O Guru Raja, you. Rajate. First Rajate is viraj karte hain. The second one is Guru Raja Te. That you, O Guru Raja, you reign. But both appears to be Rajate, Rajate. There is a verse in Sanskrit where only 4 letters, 2 letters are used. The full line is a single word. But you have to split the sandhi in a manner that it will become meaningful. You can play, the people play crossword and all. You can play to any extent with the Sanskrit shlokas. There is no end to those games. There is a book called The Wonder That Sanskrit Is. It's published from Aurobindo Ashram, written by 2 persons. One is Sampadananda Mishra and another person, I don't remember the names. It's an excellent book. I think all of you should read, then you will understand the greatness of Sanskrit. Very simple book written for the layman with various shlokas and all. Let us chant from Amanitvam. While chanting, we should see that the meaning strikes our mind. Then only the chanting will have its effect. Amanitvam adambhitvam ahimsa kshantirarjavam acharyopasanam shaucham स्थैर्यमात्म विनिग्रहः इन्द्रियार्थेषु वैराग्यम् अनहङ्कार एव च जन्म मृत्यु जरा व्याधि दुःख दोषानुदर्शनम् असक्तिरनभिष्वङ्गः पुत्रदारगृहादिषु नित्यं च समचित्तत्वम् Ishtaništopapattishu. So yesterday we had discussed to some extent that nityam cha samachittatvam, not in some extent quite elaborately. Now this is asaktihi anavishvangaha putra dara grihadishu. First is asaktihi. This we generally translate as attachment, because these meanings are very much misunderstood. So we stop using some of the words which have become stale. Well, we may call it disattachment rather than using detachment. Detachment was being used earlier. So people make it very stale. By detachment means you should not be sensitive to anything happening. That is, you should be insensitive to whatever happening around. It is not at all so. Absolute misunderstanding. As you grow in sattvic qualities, you will become more and more sensitive. The sensitivity will not go down, it will further increase. But you should not get affected is the main point. Like swimming on the waves, that when the wave goes up, you go up, when the wave goes down, you go down. And there is always the drowning power of the water is there. You are always acting against the drowning power. The swimming will not be enjoyable at all if there is no drowning power. If I ask you to swim over the floor, there's no joy in that. Because there is a drowning power of water, that swimming becomes enjoyable when you learn swimming, when you are able not to get drowned, but remaining floating over water. Like that, samatva in sukha duhkha, or remaining unattached in various conditions, it does not mean that you will not feel sukha, duhkha and the other emotions. You may feel much more, but you should not get drowned by that. You should not lose yourself. You should not become slave, as I was explaining yesterday. This asakti, we have started now using the word not clinging. That is sakti or asakti, both are same. Sakti and asakti. Asamantat, that means less than sakti, but both are same. Means attachment, we generally say. We say clinging to make it a more meaningful. Actually anything is okay. We have to use some English word. And asaktihi is not clinging to anything. Now, what is this clinging? First is asaktihi. That means generally referring to any situation or any object or anything, to cling to anything. Even clinging to opinion, clinging to our own opinion, etc. Suppose in a meeting or so, whatever I have said, if it is not accepted, we feel very disturbed. Because I have said, if it is another's opinion, then we don't have any problem. But if I suggest something and that is not accepted, then we feel disturbed. Why? That I is coming there. That I have suggested something. I am holding on to that opinion, what I am. We know of a person who was MD of a big company. He himself used to say that I am so identified with my opinion that if in the board meeting I say something and it is not accepted, I simply walk out of the meeting. See the ego. In the board meeting, if he says something and it is not accepted by the other directors, then he would walk out. It goes to such an extent. And very commonly what we find is that, not so much, but commonly we find, suppose I dislike one director in the board and he is suggesting something. Because it is he who is suggesting, we immediately start opposing. Not by the value of what he has said, not by the worth of the opinion expressed. So very clever people will put somebody whom maybe the main person likes, and you say that, you express the opinion. If I say, the chairman will oppose. Better you express the opinion and it gets accepted. So all these things, that is not seeing, as I yesterday also explained, that Rajo Ragatmakam Viddhi, this Rajoguna, which is always leading us to Ragadvesha, that likes, dislikes and ego. Ragatmakam Viddhi, it is always originating from a color. Raga means color. What color of what? Me, mine color. I like, I dislike, it is me, it is mine, like that. And we get clinging to that. Here they have used another word which is not generally used, anabhishvangaha. That means na abhishvangaha. Here everything is good qualities they have mentioned. The reverse of it is the bad. So asaktihi means not having sakti, not having asakti. Asakti and sakti are same, but asakti is the reverse of it. That we should remember. And anabhishvanga means na abhishvangaha. There is a subtle difference between the two. This abhishvanga also means clinging, but the clinging is so much that you identify yourself with that. The clinging becomes so much that you identify yourself, you get completely identified with that. Asakti is towards possessing something, that whatever we possess, we get clinging to that. But avishvanga is generally referred to our own children, wife, etc. Even they have said putra, dara, griha, adishu, everything. Putra, dara, putra means son, dara means wife, griha, building, my house, adishu, and many others. As I say, opinion also. We identify with the opinion so much that even if the opinion is proved to be wrong, it is my opinion, so it has to be accepted. So as if the opinion, I become the opinion. So it is called abhishvanga. It's a further advanced level of Sanga. In Bhagavad Gita, 2nd chapter, I think it is 2.62. I had shown earlier also, I have discussed about it long back. There, generally, we feel that the kama is the main trouble. There, Arjuna is asking that atha kena prayuktoyam, that is in 3rd chapter, of course. Atha kena prayuktoyam papam charati purushaha anichannapi vashneya baladiva niyojitaha. That, oh Krishna, if it is so, then why people get into it? Because he has understood that doing anything in the wrong manner in a constricted mindset, which we call papa. Papa means wherever the mind gets constricted. I said that in spirituality even punya is a papa, because punya, if it increases your ego, I have done something great, that is also considered to be papa in spirituality. Otherwise it is sinfulness and virtue. So he said that knowing that doing bad things, criticizing others, blaming others, quarreling with others, it is all torturing to us. Our mind is undergoing torture. We are criticizing another person. Whatever is happening to him, we don't know. He might be very happy. But by my ninda, ninda, you understand? In English, what is it? Blamingness. By my ninda, my mind is getting petrified. I am tortured by that. I am not at all. Nobody will be happy with such a mindset which is always disturbed, which is always criticizing, critical, which is always blaming others. Who will be happy? So, Arjuna is asking that what is this, that knowing all these things also people are committing sinful acts. That means behaving in a constricted manner, in the manner we generally do. What is this? That as if baladiva niyojita, as if by force, like a storm, they are pulled into this wrong behavior. What is this mystery? That even if we understand this is not very pleasant to us, we are not able to keep a pleasant mind, a comfortable mind, the mind which will keep me cheerful, happy, we are not able to. What is this? That as if by force we are dragged to sinful actions. So he said there that kama esha krodha esha rajoguna samudbhavaha mahashano mahapapma vidhyenam bairinam. You know these to be the greatest shatru for you, the enemy for you. What is that? Kama esha krodha esha rajoguna samudbhava. They are originating from the rajoguna. I said that in 14th chapter you will find the rajoguna is defined as rajo ragatmakam vidhi. That is where from rajoguna is coming. It is coming from the differential color, raga, that we apply. According to that, I like this, I dislike this, and that makes us, motivates into activity out of them. So, he says that this kama and krodha, actually krodha we need not discuss. He has also not discussed much, because whenever there is kama, that means there is some desire, and we are finding it very difficult to fulfill the desire, we don't know what to do, then we become angry. Suppose it is your son, and he started misbehaving. Now, if you can understand how to correct him, you will do. But suppose you don't know how to correct him and he is not getting corrected, then actually it is because your son that you are getting so destabilized. Suppose another son is misbehaving, then you will blame him and that is all over. You will not get angry by that. You will not get disturbed by that. But because it is your son, you want the reputation to be preserved, that I am from a reputed family, so my son also should behave in the proper manner. When he is misbehaving and I am not able to correct him, then I start slapping him. We beat the son not always out of the treatment that he needs beating. We beat often, most often, out of our own uncontrollable behavior. Is it not so? If it is needed, you give slaps. That is okay. In that case, your mind will not get disturbed. But if your mind gets destabilized, disturbed, then the beating is not the treatment beating. It is your vituperation, your uncontrolled behavior. So there he has said in second chapter 2.62, he has mentioned that the kama or the desire, it is not the beginning point. The shloka is dhyayato vishayan pumsaha sangasteshu upajayate sangat sanjayate kamaha. This is very important, because there lies the clue to our transformation, that how we can change our life. He says that kama is not at the origin. He says dhyayato vishayan pumsaha sangasteshu upajayate sangat sanjayate kamaha. That means from sanga the kama is getting born. This sanga is same as shakti. A little difference is there. How the sanga is generated? He says dhyayato vishayan pumsaha. That means by constantly thinking about some object or some situation or something, we start clinging to that. This is very important. We should think. Suppose when there were only Landmaster or Ambassador car, there were no other models available. So there was no question of having a desire for a Mercedes or a what all the makes are there now. They were not in front of you. So hardly anybody who goes to the foreign country will think of getting a car from there and bringing in. That was very rare. But normally people, if they will be happy having an Ambassador car, they are satisfied with that. But the moment various things are available, now that it is available, even if you have something, seeing the other things and thinking about it, and seeing the newspaper that this has got this value, that quality, this, that and all. In the TV also you will see how it is jumping over the pits and how people are enjoying sitting in that. All these things, what they are doing, the business people are very clever. They are fool also, because whatever they are fooling the people, by that their own people are also getting fooled. So whatever pollution they are putting into the atmosphere, by that they also are getting affected. That part they are fool. Otherwise they are intelligent. So what they are doing is that They are attracting our mind by constantly giving the thought of a certain car and how it is, what are the things, etc. By thinking about it, one day we will think that, let me also have it. Is it not so? More will be, suppose your neighbor has it and you are seeing every day they are going and he is talking about it also, or people are appreciating it, then you will try to have it. So the kama was not there earlier. It is constantly thinking of it, the kama is generated. Don't think it is only about the kama or attraction, it is about the other side also, hatred also. As I said the other day, when people start talking, suppose A and B do not like C. A also does not like C, B does not like C. Both of them do not like C. Now A and B starts talking ill about C. By talking ill about the defects of C, both A and B, their hatred grows more and more. They become so hateful about C that they cannot stand him or her anymore. Is it not so? So what is it happening? The dhyayato vishayan pumsaha. That we are charcha, in any charcha, whatever charcha we are doing, whatever we are meditating on, we start sticking to them. Be it lovable something, we start sticking to it. If it is hateful something, we start hating it more and more and more. It's an offshoot of our thinking, the time, you can say the mind hour we are spending on that. So the spirituality is just applying the reverse treatment, that you spend mind hours on the soul which is universal, which is all pervading, where there is no fragmentation, no division, everybody is the same soul. So constantly thinking about universality, uniformity, unaffectedness, that soul never gets affected by anything at all. It is always unaffected. So the contemplation in spirituality is giving your mind a nourishment or a feed, a constant thought of uniformity, universality. By that what will happen? The mind will generate asakti towards, sakti towards universality. That is what we want. We are deliberately generating the sakti towards universality, uniformity, to deal with our sakti towards small things, fragmented things. When this deals with that, both are to be thrown off. Neither infinitude is necessary, nor smallness is necessary. Both will be, the smallness of the mind will be dealt with by the liberality or the broadness of the mind. Are you able to understand the technique? This is the technology of spirituality, you can say. It's actually the technology of spirituality. Can you show the slide? That dhyayato vishan pumsaha, that's a cycle of bondage. See, we have started from the beginning that ignorance, avidya, which covers our real identity. That means we start thinking that we are small, we are limited by the body-mind complex. This is our general nature of idea about our I. Now, this small I, because we are small, we try to enjoy whatever is pleasant and try to avoid whatever is unpleasant. That puts us into activity, that is karma, motivated by desire. Actually, I have taken the example of Rajya Sukha Lobhena, as Arjuna was saying in the beginning in the first chapter. I said that his idea of fighting the war was to gain the kingdom and then have the happiness of ruling a kingdom. Out of the greed he was fighting. That was his mindset. Like that, always, as I say, that whatever we do, behind that getting the result of the activity, I will become happy. That is the general desire motivated activity. Now, it leads us finally to thinking that the fulfillment will come from the result of my activity, whatever I am getting out of the result as a result, and that will make me happy. That constantly put us into Vishaya Dhyana, just as I said, Dhyayato Vishayan Pumsaha. We think that if I get this car, then I will become very happy. So that causes a constant thought about that. And that constant thought of the material is what generates the Sanga, or clinging to what I am thinking, the preference and prejudice, whatever is there in my mind. Clinging to that the clinging Sanga is generated by the constant thought, by constantly meditating on the desireful object. Now that will make us work further to gain the desireful objects. So by that what is happening? The desire, we have shown the arrow going back to that desire, because the desire will increase further. Whatever was there, by the fulfillment of that, we start thinking more about the desireful objects. The more we think about the desireful objects, we get attached to that, and we develop further desires in that level, and that only increases the kama. So more kama we have, more activity related to, motivated by the kama. So we are trapped by the whole cycle of bondage, making us slave to objects and objective situations. This is the slavery cycle, so to say. Now, in Bhagavad Gita 3rd chapter, in reply to Arjuna, he says that Indriyani mano buddhihi asyadhisthana muchyate. Where does this kama reside? See, wherever fundamentally it is residing, we have to apply the treatment there. So they are residing on the senses, in the mind, and in the intelligence. So our treatment also has to be incorporated, has to be instituted there in all these three aspects. So if you just go on doing japa, it will not happen. You have to give to your mind some thoughts which will counter the desireful thoughts or the clinging thoughts. You have to give the intelligence, the institute in the intelligence, the viveka buddhi, which will show you the ultimate auspicious path, which will not make the intelligence cling to all desireful objects and how to fulfill them. I have to get some more money, so let me take some bribe, do this. All these things intelligence is doing, being slave to the objective situation. So we have to give the intelligence what will take us to the ultimate auspicious goal. That is the viveka buddhi I discussed yesterday also. So in the next tip, sir. Here I have further shown that the slavery cycle, that initially when we strive for money, money is a need. For anybody, money is a need, because you need certain comfort, certain livelihood, some needs are there. So initially money is a need. But as you start having money, and money, you find that money is bringing happiness. So there comes desire for more and more money. So money comes, you work for money, and the constant thought of money comes. At one time we cross the boundary, we not unknown, that we start hoarding money. That is, our interest goes to money. We cling to money. This is what I wanted to say. That more and more we think of money, our focus shifts from the happiness to money, and money becomes the cause of unhappiness. You think about it. The fear of losing money, or the desire for becoming the multimillionaire, or the 10 richest person, one of the 10 richest person in the world. It can go to any extent. Having 10 buildings in the city, in the metro city, you can sleep only on one bed. You can live maximum in 3 rooms or 4 rooms, but you will have 14-storied buildings here, there, or at least 4-storied 3 buildings, or minimum 3-4 flats. All these, and what is it? In your mind, you are thinking that I have this, I have that, and the money, you are not really utilizing the money. You are getting more and more money, and it is getting accumulated. So earlier you started earning money to have happiness. But finally, you, by thought of money, is making you stick to that money and finally become slave to the money, that the money is only causing unhappiness to you. It is only the cause of disturbances. So we actually become fool in that process if we are looking for happiness. That is why in our country there are so many codes of conduct which we flout. In Gujarat, etc., people follow to some extent. That you should not hoard money. You should spend it liberally. And you should not give too much of money to your next generation so that they are spoiled. By giving too much to the next generation, you will spoil them. You are supposed to give them education, stabilize them, and beyond that, you can give a little support, not more than that. But we don't understand, being slave to the money, we don't understand that by giving so much, we are spoiling the children. That Viveka Buddhi will not be there. We lose the Viveka. We become enslaved by this desire and the constant clinging to money. Next verse. Now here we say that how one can work for liberation, and as I am saying always, it is a regenerative process. That is why I have put a cycle of the progressive purification cycle. To be accurate, it should not have been a cycle, it should have been a helix, upward helix. Helix means as you go the cycle, it should go up and take you there. But in my diagram, I am unable to make that three-dimensional. So I have made a cycle, although cycle means it's a closed process. Here it is not a closed process. So I have drawn a cycle and finally ejected it that you get liberated into the real identity. You can see the arrow below. See, this cycle goes on. Finally, with maturity, you come here. So you are no more in the cycle. This is the real universal identity, divinity in every action. This is where the whole life gets divinized. Here I have given the shloka numbers also. I will not go into the detail of it. All the shloka numbers correspondingly in Bhagavad Gita we have given. Now what is shown here is, this is the seat of desire, senses, mind and intelligence. Now let us apply the treatment at this level. So these are treated by the processes explained in Bhagavad Gita. One is the samatva attitude I have discussed yesterday also. The other is the surrender. The third is the jajna vision. These are all discussed in Bhagavad Gita. I have discussed it here also earlier. I am not going in detail into it. So they are all actually treating our senses, mind and intelligence. They will be processed through that. By the process of sublimation of ego and desires, what Bhagavad Gita says is that prasadam adhigacchati. He will have prasada. Prasada means a sense of placidity will dawn in the mind. When we are once we win over our egoistic tendencies, once we win over our desires, that winning, the joy of victory is much more than the joy of other things. Because it makes you free of stress, tension. It gives a joy of winning over our own slavery. That is when we can become master of our own self, that gives the greatest joy. Then what happens is that if once you can win over, then that becomes a reinforcement for second time to win over. 2-3 times we win over, then nobody has to tell you, you will automatically work upon it. And finally, that will become your pursuit, to always win over your slavery in all the fields of life. Whenever that mind becomes constricted, to win over and make the mind liberal. So it works automatically then. It becomes natural. So in the process, finally what happens is that maturation of knowledge, purity, leading finally to the self-realization, when you finally, whole life gets divinized. So this asaktir anavishwangaha putra dara grihadishu. You cannot have it, really speaking, we may say, but you will not be able to activate it unless you are thoughtful. That you analyze your life. It will not come. Did I not tell the other day that we always do something thinking that I will become happy. But if we look at the whole world, past and present, if possible future also, has anybody ever become happy by doing anything, permanently happy? For a few moments or few days, one may feel happy till another desire comes and takes over, another fear comes and takes over his mind. Immediately you are in the same soup again, you forget about what fulfillment you had. Suppose something you are pursuing. After you have it, very little time you will be happy with that. After that you will forget that you wanted it and you have got fulfilled. There other desires will take over your mind and again you will become unhappy. So when we see around, look around, that nobody has ever become happy by doing anything in the world. If anybody has become happy, it is because of something else, not because of fulfilling his desire, material desire. Na vittena tarpaniyo manushyo. Nachiketa told Yamaraja, the Shishya told the Guru that na vittena tarpaniyo manushyo. The man can never be satisfied by any wealth. You know that, no? I have discussed also. Shvobhava matyasya yadantakaitat sarvendriyanam jarayanti tejaha api sarvam jivitam alpameva tavaiva vahastava nitya gite. Na vittena tarpaniyo manusya. It comes like that. When Yamaraja was trying to allure him with so many chariots, golden chariot, this, that, whichever is not available on earth, bringing from heaven, etc. Finally, Nachiketa felt that what is this going on? I am not interested in all this. So finally, he lectured Yamaraja. Yamaraja was testing him, but finally Yamaraja stopped when Nachiketa lectured Yamaraja. Nachiketa says that Shvobhava matyasya yadantakaitat. Hey Antaka, O Yamaraja, all these things what you have brought, they are all Shvaha Abhavaha. Shvaha means tomorrow. Abhava means tomorrow they will not be there. Tomorrow means they may live for many years, but after that they are all perishable. They are not going to be permanent. Shvaha Abhava. Not only that, Sarvendriyanam jarayanti tejaha. If you give so much of indulgence to your sense organs, whatever your dance users, musicians, this chariot, that, this food, so many things. So by that what will happen? Your indriyas will get more and more depleted. Even whatever we use the indriyas throughout the day, if we are not able to have a deep sleep in night, we feel tired. Because the indriyas get depleted by their usage. A few hours of deep sleep where we are in the lap of the soul, when there is no world at all. No world means not external world, not even dream world. Even if dream world is there, you get disturbed. If you, throughout the night, if you are in dream, you will get up tired. Because in dream also the internal sense organs are active. Everything is going on. Fear is active. Attraction is active. Repulsion is active. Sarvendriyanam jarayanti tejaha. That is, even whatever indulgence we are giving to our indulgence, whatever use we are making, with that also they are getting depleted in their power. So a few hours if you are in the lap of the soul without dream also, because in dream also they get degenerated. Although the external indriyas are not working, but the internal in the brain, the cortices, the internal indriyas, sense organs, they are all active. So it will also make us tired. So he says that it's so much of indulgence in sense objects and all, what will happen? My indriyas will get all the more depleted. Sarvendriyanam jarayanti tejaha. And not only that, oh Yamaraja, you have given me life for thousands of years of 10,000s of years. You are saying that you be young for 10,000 years. So that, because if you become old and live for 10,000 years, it is pathetic. Suppose after 100 years of life, you have become absolutely old. And you have to live another 1,000 years. Is it a blessing or is it a curse? Not only that, with such a health, if very good sweets are brought near you, which not a single you can take, is it a gift or is it a punishment? So, he says that you have given me life for a long span, thousands of years, you said. But don't you know, Yamaraja, that api sarvam jivitam alpameva. Alpa means insufficient. Alpa does not mean come. It means insufficient. The lifespan for anybody is insufficient, is the statement. Api sarvam jivitam alpameva. Lifespan is insufficient for everybody. Why insufficient? As long as we are not freed of the desires for objective enjoyment, any lifespan is insufficient. Suppose a person has lived 200 years also and he wants to enjoy the world more. It is insufficient for him. But a person who has lived 40 years and he has become free of desires, life is sufficient for him. He may live, he may die, he doesn't bother about it. It is sufficient. But any number of years you are living, that will not make you Make your life sufficient. So why are you saying that I give you 10,000 years of life? It is the same thing. It is going to be the same thing. Therefore, tavaiva vahas tava nritya gite. Let all these chariots and dances, they be with you, Yamaraja. You enjoy them. Nachiketa is not interested in them. Na vittena tarpaniyo manusho. Man can never be satisfied any amount of wealth. Now, knowing that also, are we not trying to have more and more wealth? Whatever is necessary for the need and all. Beyond that, if we go on collecting wealth and we work for wealth, it is not going to make us more happy, but we are deluded. But when we look around and see and analyze, even then we will not be able to. I am not saying that all of you should become desireless. That is a wrong idea generally. In our country, after the brahmacharya lesson, very few used to take to Naishthika brahmacharya. That is, they would not get married, they would not go for any profession, they would straight away get prepared for taking up sannyasa. That would be rare few. They used to be called that convocation, that after 12 years of study there would be convocation. That means the sending them off. In that, those who have, after studying the scriptures, whatever is done during brahmacharya, those who would feel that, no, I don't want to enjoy the world and all. I have understood that here lies the ultimate goal of life. So I would pursue sannyasa from here itself. So they would be given Naishthika brahmacharya. That is, they would not marry, they would not go for earning. But all others used to go for Garhastha life, Vanaprastha life, and then sannyasa life. Now in that, the idea is that whatever rightful desires you have in your mind, you fulfill them through earning and fulfilling the kama through grihastha life. You earn and fulfill the desires. What desires? Rightful desires. Whatever is not harmful to others, whatever is not too ambitious to put you into trap or later on make you unhappy. Whatever rightful desires you have, generally people will have to fulfill. But there is a big but which people do not know. Most important but is there. But you fulfill knowing that it is not going to fulfill you forever. If I marry this girl, I will be very happy. And you run after the girl, finally marry. If it is good fortune you have, it lasts. Otherwise, within 2 years after marriage, you will get divorce also. That is, after marriage, the whole situation changes. Now, nobody is asking you not to marry. If you have desires to marry, desires to have children, desires to live the married life, you are supposed to marry. But know that this marriage is not going to make me permanently happy. This is the big but I said. If you want to earn money or become a big scientist or big anything, you do it. But know that it is not going to fulfill me. Am I clear? So nobody is asking you that everybody will become free of desires right in the beginning. Well, if you can become, it is well and good. Then the life becomes fulfilled right there. Because desires are redundant. If we can get rid of the desires, we can work very well. We can perform much better than what we do. Because the desires are actually a hindrance. But even if you make them understand, it is not going to work because the physical body, the vital body, they have various desires left. But we should try to fulfill the desires with the full awareness that this is not going to make me fulfilled forever. It is not going to make me permanently fulfilled. Then what will happen? You will very soon outlive the desires. You get married thinking that I am marrying because I want to marry. But this is not going to make me permanently fulfilled. I have to go for something else after some time. Then you will find that you fulfill the desires of marital life and grihastha life. And very soon you feel the urge to have knowledge or to go for anything, the later life of vanaprastha or sannyasa. That is how the kings also used to leave their kingdom very soon. Without any problem. At 45, 50 they used to walk off. Big, great kings, well-known, famous kings, they used to simply walk off. And here even the king of a small household, and they are not able to leave anything at all. As long as the children were getting settled, it is fine. Then afterwards, oh, the grandchildren, they cannot live without the grandmother or grandfather. They are so fond of us. This is what is anavishvanga and asakti anavishvanga. Sakti and avishvanga. That the grandchildren are not able to stay without me. And that is why I am here. So I am not holding them, but they are holding me. Is it not so? In Buddhism, there is a story that one guru was there, acharya was there, who was trying to make his disciples, household disciples and many others, about this truth, that if you can become a little non-clinging to your own people, your own house, your own property, then you will find the life becomes much more enjoyable. You will find that your affection towards your children also will become much more honorable and lovable. Everything will become beautiful. But they would not understand how to become detached. Maharaj, in Buddhism they don't say Maharaj. What do they say? Prabhu or something. How can it be left? They are always holding us, everything is holding us, etc. So okay, one day he went on a walk into the forest along with all the disciples. The Guru was going for a walk in the forest. Now you know that when even in presence of the Guru also, if you have a free movement or some freedom, not like a hall like this, the disciples will start gossiping amongst themselves. The Guru will sit there and then no longer are interested in listening to his message or so. They start gossiping about their family life, their professional life, all that. This happens always. And here it so happened that they were so engrossed in their gossip that they forgot that the Guru is missing. They went with the Guru, accompanying the Guru to look after him also perhaps. But the Guru is missing, they don't know. They are so involved in the gossip. Suddenly they heard a shout coming from deep inside the forest. Chhod do, chhod do, chhod do. That means leave me, leave me, leave me. Arey, this is our Guru's voice. Where is he gone? Where is he gone? Oh, he is not amongst us. He has gone away somewhere and he must have been caught by dacoits or somebody. He must have been caught by the dacoits. He is shouting, chhod do, leave me, leave me. So they, hearing the sound, they looked into it. Finally they went there and found that he is with a tree. So they thought that the dacoits must have tied him with the tree and gone away or somewhere they are there. So they went nearby to leave him, to release him. When they went near, they found that he is holding on the tree like this. So they said, Prabhu, you are holding on the tree? But he would not listen. Leave me, leave me, leave me. He is holding on and saying, leave me, release me, release me. So they tried to pull, but he is holding on very tight. They are not able to pull him. Finally they said, but Prabhu, why are you saying leave me? You are holding on to the tree. If you leave, you will come out. He immediately left and said, have you understood? This is what I have been trying to make you understand for so many decades. That you are holding on to it. You simply leave. The world is not holding on to you at all. You simply leave. No grandchild is holding you. No son or daughter is holding you. No building is holding you. It is in your mind you are holding on to. This is that Sakti and Abhishvanga. When we were leaving our Kharagpur I joined our ashram when we were in Kharagpur IIT, so we were leaving our house. So most of the furnitures were partly taken by people, but bought by one person from some outside the campus. So he had got the truck and he was loading all the materials in the truck. So I found that the way he has loaded the truck, the materials will not reach in good health when they reach the destination. Something will break or so. It is not properly placed and buffer is given or so. And I am telling the person, you pack it properly, you put the this and that. Finally I found that he is not careful. He is not careful about me. So what I did, I got onto the truck. It is not my property anymore. It's sold off. I got onto the truck and took some of my beddings or whatever was there. We put as the protecting layers and all and setting down. So seeing that our neighbor, they remarked that, see, this person is leaving for an ashram, living the household life. Even now he is so much attached to his furniture. So I smiled. I said, Ya nisha sarva bhutanam tasyam jagrati samyami yasyam jagrati bhutani sa nisha pashyato mune. You know that, no? Whatever is the night for the ordinary people is day for a seeker or muni or a knower. And whatever is day for the ordinary people is night for the knower. Why? Because for them the existence of this attractive and repulsive world of various objects, for the ordinary people it has everything to do. They don't see the Atma, they don't see the reality or all-pervading universality, nothing like that. So it is nisha for them, night for them, and day for them is the attraction and repulsion of the worldly things. Whereas for a muni, that Atma is everything. The whole world is appearing on that consciousness. For them that Atma is everything and this world does not have anything to do. But the fact is that when the worldly people will see somebody, they will analyze according to their own mindset. So they thought it is my attachment to the materials. But I always look up, whether it is my material or others' material, I used to look after them. If it is possible to repair anything, even if it is not mine, I used to do. Even the last day also, noon we will be leaving. The morning we watered all the plants, whatever could be given, the pots and all we had given off. The other pots we were watering. Seeing that also they must have said the same thing, I don't know. That see, what will happen to these plants? They will die next day. But this man is still watering the plants. So much he is attached to the plants. They don't have children, but they have caught hold of to see the Sakti. They don't have children, but they are watering the plants. They are attached to the furniture. They are attached to the dining table and all those things. So people will say like that. But we were always believing that it is not that kind of that you keep your house clean and throw all the garbage on the road. The road also has to be kept clean. You have to clean that also. Because we are leaving, as long as we are there, we have to look after everything. As long as the material is in front of my eyes and somebody is not taking care, I will take care of it. Of course, if he says that it is no more your botheration, go away, then I would not have touched it. That he may say, he is free to say. Suppose there is a truck going and they are keeping something like that, I cannot go there and set right things. They will slap me. That cannot be done. But wherever the possibility is there, that uniformity will make us do that. Are you able to understand? These stories I am telling you to understand where is the difference between Sakti and Asakti. It is just like as the other day I said that in film you are seeing pathos, you are shedding tears, but you are not howling and wailing or saying anything. It is not, you are not disliking the shedding tears. Or even novel you are reading, some tragic novel. You are responding to the duhkha there, suffering. You are suffering, you are shedding tears. But are you disliking the duhkha there? But the same thing what you are reading, when it is happening in your family, why are you getting so upset about it? Start wailing about it. There comes this is a very subtle curtain. There comes the Sakti, there comes the Avishvanga. Otherwise, all suffering also can be sustained from a joyous background. That you can embrace death and suffering very well, provided we don't have that Sakti. It's such a subtle curtain between the two. So, asaktir anavishvangaha putradara grihadeshu nityam cha samachittattvam This I have explained yesterday, but I would like to join a little more of this samachittatva. Here also the same principle works, that we always think that we are working or we are earning, whatever we do, that at the end of it we will have the result, and what is the result? Finally I will become happy. Say, I am working because I will get some money at the end of the month. What will you do with the money? With the money I will buy something. With that I will give my family this, that. By that what will happen? If my family lives well, I will also be happy. Anything you do, that at the end of it, that I will become happy. That is the last point of our any desire motivated activity. But once we understand that the joy is not outside, joy is within us. Any ananda or joy, it is come from within. And it is coming whenever the disturbance caused by desire and fear and hatred, they are not there. Raga, dvesha, bhaya, these are the disturbing elements of our mind. Raga means clinging, desire. Dvesha means hatred. And bhaya means fear. Now fear is nothing new. Fear of losing what I like and fear of facing what I dislike. So it comes down to again likes and dislikes. But we generally refer to raga, dvesha, bhaya. They are causing the disturbance. So if the mind is free of them, then automatically our mind becomes cheerful. That because this ananda or the joy is a parameter of our soul. When we get ananda by fulfillment of the desire, actually at that point, for a moment, the desires are not there. So it is not the fulfillment of the desire, rather the elimination of the desire, which makes us feel the ananda which is always welling forth, which is the self property of our soul. We are missing it because of our disturbed mind. It is just like when you have a lot of waves on the surface of the pond, you don't see the bottom. But suppose the water becomes still and it's pure water, then you can see right up to the bottom. Like that, when the mind becomes still and the impurity of various level is taken away, the mind becomes pure and still, then always you are in bliss. Bliss means the joy of the soul. It is not a joy as you think that he will be always laughing and smile. It is not like that. It is called prasada, at placidity. That placidity will be there in duhkha as well as sukha. Always that constant, that is what he said. Ragadvesha vijuktaistu vishayan indrishcharan atmavashir vidheyatma prasadam adhigacchati. When a person moves in the same objective world, but freed of ragadvesha, the clinging and hatred, and how he moves, atmavashir, being anchored in his real identity, anchored within. Not vishayavashir, not being slave to the worldly situation, but being connected to his own real identity. Atmavashir, vidheyatma. He is disciplined not by any external discipline, but the discipline comes from within, in his anchorage to his soul. He is moving he is moving in tune with the infinite, or in tune with the breath of his soul. Do you understand the expression? Breath of his soul means the inner rhythm. He is always in harmony with that. There is no internal clash of the mind and intelligence, the senses and the mind. No clash at all. So, not having internal clash of this kind, that the mind, the senses are saying, I will eat more. The mind is saying that if you eat, it will be a problem. The intelligence is saying that yes, it will be a problem, but why not? You can take a little medicine today after you eat, satisfy the tongue, and then take some medicine. That is the intelligence. All these things, the clash is going on throughout. When there is no internal clash, there will be a placidity in the whole being. So that is called prasadam. Prasadam adhigacchati. So, what happens is that once we understand it, then we don't work for the joy at the end of the work, but we work out of joy. So, when you are, suppose it does not mean that you will not plan for what you are doing. Desireless activity does not mean that, suppose you are going to put up a factory. It's a factory for producing camera. You have to think well and take the advice of the expert people, plan well that how can we produce the camera which will be useful for the current society, which will have the modern facilities, which can stand by the proper price, the business can be sustained, everything you have to think. But you should not put your mind on when the camera comes out of the factory, it will be sold as a great price and I will have so much of profit, and with that profit I will mail another 2 buildings, and with 4 buildings I will be very happy. So there comes the problem. You plan everything, do well, make the proper, put up the proper factory, but in your mind keep the readiness to accept the consequence also. That somehow, something, it may happen that the factory does not become successful. In that case, I may lose also. I should see that I can sustain the loss and I can proceed with that. All these things we can keep. That the mind should be ready for the success of the product as well as the failure of the product. That is what they mean by ishta anishta upapattishu, samachittatvam. That readiness of the mind is necessary. And that will be possible only when you are not pitching your desire at the end product, that I will become happy by that. If you can do like that, your mind, you can work with absolutely cool mind, the performance will be much better, and you will find that every step of work will become joyful. You don't have to have joy after you get the profit and then you get some money. You understand? The desire is, there is a big difference. I am now working to put up the factory. After 3 years, the factory will start running. Then I will have money and then I will become a multimillionaire. This is a desire. But you don't have to desire. If you are doing something, you have aspiration for doing something, you want to do something, you do it with everything. And if you are not pitching your happiness on the ultimate result, then you will be able to work very well. And you will find that whatever you are doing with lot of perfection, and that is giving you the greatest joy. Earlier you will try to mismanage you will try to patch up many things and only looking at the ultimate profit. So you won't get the joy of work. In this case, you will get the joy of work, of doing anything, the best of your your capabilities. So this nityam cha samachittatvam is very important in all respects. That it makes you performentially excellence. It makes you always having a placid mind. And it makes your life also truthful. Because it is not depending on the ultimate product always. It is not fluctuating according to that. Then comes Mai chananya yogena bhaktiravyavicharini vivikta desha sevitvam aratir jana samsadi. He says, Mai cha ananya yogena. Ananya yogena, na anya yogena. Ananya yogena. Bhakti hi avyabhicharini. Avyabhicharini. Vyabhicharini, avyabhicharini. Vyabhicharini means desultory. Sometimes here, sometimes there. One guru you run, that making him, he is a great guru, making him, my son will get a very good job. I will not have, nobody in my family will ever die. After taking initiation, maybe somebody dies. ये गुरु का कोई शक्ति नहीं है, दूसरों के पास चलो, उनके पास ज़्यादा शक्ति है, वो कुछ कर देंगे तो हमें बिजनेस का ऑर्डर मिल जाएगा ज़्यादा, तो वहाँ दौड़ो फिर. Go there. Like that, this is called Vyabhicharini Bhakti. You run from one temple to the other. Or sometimes there is some distress, you run to the astrologer, that क्या पूजा करना है, क्या यज्ञ होम करना है. That means you are not fixed to here he said Mai. Mai means to Krishna. Means, what is that Krishna? He has identified himself with the real Atma, who is one, uniform, universal. So, a person who is devoted to this yoga, his all concentration will be on the Atma, on the ultimate reality. So, the bhakti also should be on the ultimate reality, his Atma. So, in Viveka Chudamani, Shankaracharya has said, Swaswarupānusandhānam bhaktirityabhidhīyate. Swaswarupānusandhānam bhaktirityabhidhīyate. What is bhakti? It is the looking into, to search into one's own real nature. So generally bhakti we mean going to some temple or doing some chanting God, etc. But for a person who is after self-realization also, that fixity to that inquiry is the bhakti. Practically speaking, bhakti is the intensity, an emotional intensity. Suppose one who is given to jnana, for him that emotional intensity with which he keeps to jnana, knowledge, that is his bhakti. Somebody may read the Shastras, read everything, know everything, but he will not pursue it. That means he lacks bhakti, not that he lacks jnana, he lacks bhakti. So, unless the bhakti is abhyavicharini, you will not get your object of pursuit, whatever it is, in any field. We say devotion to work. Why? Because somebody is dedicated, fully dedicated to work, we say devotion to work. It is actually the intensity with which one applies himself, that is called the bhakti. So he says, abhyavicharini bhakti. That means the bhakti cannot be desultory, it has to be one-pointed, then only it will succeed. And here he said, Mai cha ananya yogena. Mai means to him, to Krishna, that means to the Atma. He has identified himself with the Atma, so to the Atma. So, na anya yogena means not getting connected to anything else. Ananya yoga means remaining always anchored to the self, to the soul, to our inmost identity. Ananya yoga is very important. That means sometimes I am looking for the Atma, sometimes I am going to something else, doing something else, sometimes looking for money, sometimes looking for fame, and sometimes 5 minutes looking for the Atma. That is not Ananya yoga. That is Anya yoga. Ananya yoga is whatever you do, but your fixity will be on the Swaswarupānusandhānam. So, Maicha Ananya Yogena Bhakti Abhyavicharini. That is, remaining always connected to the real identity, remaining fixed to that, and with a devotion which never becomes desultory, which is one-pointed. Even if I lose everything on the path of devotion, my devotion will not get destabilized by that. Even if I am on the street, I have lost everything. No, I will not look for the astrologer or go to another somewhere. This is the Maicha Ananya Yogena Bhaktirabhyavicharini. Then Vivikta Desha Sevitvam. Vivikta Desha Sevitvam means remaining in solitude, away from all these activities. No, that is only ordinary meaning. Truly, Vivikta Desha Sevitvam is not outside, it is inside. You can remain among so many people, but inside you have to be with the Atma, with that solitude should be there. That is, you are not looking for some interactions from others and gossip and all various things. That comes later. Aratir Jana Samsadi. Aratir Jana Samsadi. Jana Samsadi means many people and gossip and all. So, Aratir. Rati means the indulgence, the taste in Jana Samsadi, taste in gossip. Indulging in gossip, reveling in gossip. No, it need not be gossip, it can be anything, Jana Samsadi, various festivals, this, that and all also. You will not have taste. You may go to the Durga Puja and Kali Puja and all and see how the people are behaving, how they are getting, whatever you may say, getting involved in this and everything. You can see everything, but you will not have rati in it. The rati will be for him only atmaratihi. He is called atmaratihi. Rati will be only in the Atma. So vivikta desha sevitvam means in his mind he is not looking for that he is in solitude in his mind. He will not look for always for some Sanga here, there, that, oh, alone, how can I live? Retire हो गया तो और एक जॉब ले लो, वो ख़त्म हो गया तो और एक ले लो. कितना दिन लेंगे? एक दिन तो रिटायर करना पड़ेगा, तब क्या करेंगे? क्यों ना अभी से तैयार कर रहे हैं? Rather than taking 3-4 jobs and by that time you will become 75 years old, so the faculties will not work properly. At that time to transform yourself will become almost impossible. So why not at 58, 60 you start this practice and start how can you live without all these props so that you remain happy with yourself. Then you can take a job, but very soon when it is over you can be happy with that. But if you defer it by deferring, you won't gain anything. Upanishad says, Iha ched avedid atha satyam asti, no ched iha avedin mahati vinashtihi. If it is done in this life, iha means in this life, in this world, if you are able to know this truth, atha satyam asti, your life becomes truthful, your life becomes successful. No ched iha avedin, if you fail to know in this life itself, mahati vinashti, colossal is the loss. What colossal is the loss? You never know that such a state is there where you feel absolutely free like the sky, like the liberated sky. Always we are holding so much of burden, so much of agitation in the mind. So, is it not colossal is the loss? But the others will think different. They will say, what are these fools? They have left everything and gone. When we were leaving IIT, so many people visited. And one lady looked at us like this and said, I thought you are old, you are going to retire. You seem to be absolutely young. Why are you so full? Where are you going? Leaving. Yes, we are fools. What can be done? We feel like going. So she tried for half an hour to make us understand that we were fools. So, like that. Yanisha sarva bhutanam. Then comes the last shloka. Adhyatma jnana nityatvam tattva jnanartha darshanam etad jnanamiti proktam ajnanam yadatonyatha. This I have explained earlier, the last line, but it will come again. But the first line of this shloka I have not explained. These are the last two qualities. Oh, questions are there. Adhyatma jnana, I will just say today, tomorrow again I will elaborate. Adhyatma jnana nityatvam. That means constantly remaining with the Adhyatma chinta, that is Atmanatma Vastu Viveka, etc. I said that Kshetra Kshetrajna Viveka is the name of this. Chit Jada Viveka, that is what is the Chit and what is the inert, what is consciousness, what is inertness. All these things, the mind will be filled with that. In 8th chapter, the 3rd verse, he says, the Arjuna asked, what is Adhyatma? Adhyatma in Adhyatmikata, we say in our language. In English we say spirituality, but spirituality means various other things also. Truly speaking, by spiritual we mean Adhyatma Vidya, that we should know. When we are using the term spiritual, we mean Adhyatma Vidya. In 8th chapter, 3rd verse, Krishna explains what is this Adhyatma Vidya. He said, Swabhavo Adhyatma Muchyate. Svabhavaha adhyatmam uchyate. It is the definition, uchyate, definition of adhyatma. What is that? It is the swabhava. What is the swa? Swa is our real identity. So it can be two things. One is the real identity, that is called adhyatma. But real identity is same for everybody. It is not different for you at all. So one adhyatma is common to anybody, that is the universal Atma, and knowing what is that Atma, that bhava of that, the Atma bhava is the adhyatma bhava. Another is that through any body, mind, personality, that Atma is getting manifest. So what is the natural manifestation through one body, mind, personality? That is the adhyatma bhava for him. That is the adhyatma, the Atma is manifest as it is manifesting through the body, mind, personality. That will represent the divinity in that whatever is possible there. That is why each knower is different. You can easily compare Ramakrishna Dev and Vivekananda. One is the closest disciple of the other. But personality wise, absolutely almost opposite poles, entirely different. That is because of Vivekananda's body-mind complex, the personality, and Ramakrishna Deva's body-mind personality. They are different. But the same truth naturally manifests through the personality in its most natural form. After he becomes knower, it is the most natural form of manifestation. That manifest bhava is entirely different for Vivekananda and for Ramakrishna Deva. So adhyatma means that one is that uniform swabhava, that is the Atma. Another is the swabhava, which is getting the Atma getting manifest naturally through one body-mind complex. Both are swabhava actually. This second swabhava is discussed in great detail in 18th chapter. That is how it manifests through the body-mind personality, what we call swakarma, what we call swabhava, what is swadharma, what is swakarma. These are discussed in 18th chapter. So he says adhyatma jnana nityatvam, that always remaining in that, and tattva jnanartha darshanam. What is the ultimate object of this tattva jnana? That remaining always lit before one, remaining alive before one's mind. Now, with this, they complete all the qualities. I will conclude it tomorrow with further. Conclude it means this section of 20 qualities. I will take up two questions. Are the three gunas inbuilt into the body-mind complex? It is actually last year we discussed in detail. Yes, it is inbuilt in the body-mind complex. What else will be there? It is the whole nature is made of these three gunas. It is a model. This three guna is a model, but it is a very illustrative model for us with which we can work very well. The sattva guna, rajoguna and tamoguna, they are inbuilt in our body, mind, personality complex. But don't think that they cannot be, the proportion and the relative proportion cannot be changed. The entire spiritual sadhana is actually initially a sattvic vichara and finally transcendence. Initially to change the constitution of the gunas and make it more and more sattvic. That is why it is called sattvic vichara. Vichara means modification, sattvic modification. Initially we may be guided by tamoguna, at least we are mostly guided by rajoguna. Very few people are, the sattva guna is in the supreme position. Even if it is the topmost position, there also we can change the constitution and become more and more sattvic. This is what the sadhana is. Through all this jnana yajna or anything we do, a spiritual sadhana is to increase the sattva constituent in our personality complex, to make us more and more sattvika. Now once that is done, the final point is to get all the gunas, as in 14th chapter I discussed. Each guna binds us in a certain manner. Sattva guna also binds us. Sukha sangena badnati jnana sangena chanagha. Sattva guna binds us by sukha sanga and jnana sanga. Now when they said sukha sanga and jnana sanga, you cannot just understand by that. There can be sukha of various kinds. So when it is sattva guna binding us, in 18th chapter you have to see what is the sattvika sukha and what is the sattvika jnana. See how to read Bhagavad Gita. This is the way it has to be read. Here I have written sukha sangena badnati jnana sangena chanaga. So immediately we think, oh, it is binding by sukha. No, there can be rajasika sukha, there can be tamasika sukha. Tamasika sukha, you remain idle and remain sleeping, that is tamasika sukha. A sattva guna person will not be bound by that. Rajasika sukha is egoistic sukha. A sattva guni will not be bound by that. Sattva guni will be bound by sattvika sukha and sattvika jnana. So those two are also defined in 18th chapter. What is meant by the sattvika sukha? Yat tadagre vishamiva pariname amritopamam tat sukham sattvikam viddhi atma buddhi prasadajam. Similarly, what is sattvik jnana? Abhibhaktam vibhakteshu tad jnanam viddhi sattvikam. Sarva bhuteshu jenaikam bhavam avyayam ikshate. Abhibhaktam vibhakteshu tad jnanam viddhi sattvikam. I am not going deep into it. If necessary, later on I will do. But you can go into it. So that also binds a person. This sattvika sukha and sattvika jnana also binds a person. They will bind a person. So to get rid of that bondage is the last sadhana, when we become gunatita. The gunatita position is we will not be bound by any of these bondages created by any of the gunas, any of the three gunas. This is what it satisfies you. No? Prabuddham vimuktam vikaradihinam prasannam sada nitya bodhasvarupam param nishchalam nirgunam sarvarupam bhajeham sadanusmarami pranami. Prabuddham vimuktam vikaradihinam prasannam sada nitya bodhasvarupam param nishchalam nirgunam sarvarupam bhajeham sadanusmarami pranam.